Hey guys, welcome back. It is Sonia again. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'd like to talk about a pretty interesting. Okay, everything I talk about I find interesting, but today I just want to talk about a concept of limerence and twin flames. Okay, and what really is the difference between them, and how do you decipher, not really decipher, but what I actually really think about them? Because a lot of people actually come to me and they're like, oh, my limerent object, he's actually like my soulmate and he's actually my twin flame. This is why I'm so obsessed with him. But I'm here to actually give a different perspective. Okay, so before I get into that, let me just define very quickly what limerence is. So limerence is coined by a psychologist called Dorothy Tanoff in the 1970s, and she says it's characterized by a very obsessive um, fantasy related emotionally intense longing and fantasizing about a particular person. Okay, and these thoughts and fantasies are very intrusive in nature, so you can be going about your day and the person's head just pops up into your head, and that's it. You start going down this rabbit hole of like obsessing about them. um Limerence actually exists mostly in the person's head. Okay, it's mostly a fantasy and a mental obsession. And usually people don't really know their limerent object or their crush. They don't really speak to them, and they don't really sometimes the crush has even rejected them, but they're still obsessed with them, right? The thing about limerence is that there is really often a very idealized perception of the limerent object or the crush, which is sometimes due to cherry picking and sometimes just due to the fact that you are not actually seeing this person as a real person. Every one of us has flaws and things that we are actually good in, but for a limerent person, they see their limerent object as this perfect, like being like a god that they actually put on a pedestal. And I've heard of many, many stories, okay, many, many people that come to me for like coaching or anything like that. Their limerent objects are actually people that don't know them. Okay, they are celebrities, or they are actually people that have outright rejected them. And limerence actually comes about due to several different factors, and it could be due to an attachment trauma in your childhood, or some other form of trauma, some form of relationship, romantic relationship, negative experience or trauma. It could be also like just feeling a sense of a fear, okay, deep fear of being in a relationship or being too close to someone. And it could also be fears of abandonment and things like that, and also having a very obsessive um characteristic within you, because limerence is actually a form of addiction. Okay, it's a love addiction. Yes, and what is actually a twin flame then? So being like in a very spiritual space for a very long time, I've constantly heard about this concept of a twin flame, which is a spiritual belief that there's this deep soul connection that you share with this other person. And some of the characteristics that come about with this deep soul connection is that there are intense attraction. You feel like a sense of familiarity. There's like synchronicity in the things that you actually do. um there's this sense of like, hey, I've actually met this person before, but this person is actually a stranger. You feel like this very, like, this sense of like connection with this person that you have never felt before, and it feels really special to you. Okay, so that's kind of like a twin flame kind of feeling. And a lot of people kind of point it out to be something like, oh, past life connection or karma or connection over like several lifetimes. If you're into the spiritual realms, you will understand what I am talking about. um, I want to say though, that there is actually no scientific evidence or any sort of spiritual evidence for the twin flame concept. Okay, and I think that yeah, I'm gonna explain that in a while, but I think that the twin flame concept, especially when you are already a limerent person and very prone to obsession and love addiction, the twin flame belief, holding a twin flame belief and projecting that onto your crush is actually very dangerous. Okay, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. I just want to kind of talk about one or two of the key differences between limerence and twin flames. Okay, limerence is actually often unrequited. unrequited, okay, whatever you pronounce it as, is unrequited, is one-sided, right? Twin flame connections, there at least is some form of a connection at some point in time. Like maybe you spoke to that person before, you interacted before. It could be just one conversation 20 years ago, but you actually interacted before. For limerence, it's always like there may be interactions, but it's always that kind of fantasy and thinking is always kind of one-sided. Um, and traditionally, at least the belief is that twin flames, the both of you actually recognize each other. But I see a lot of modern explanations of twin flames. It sounds very much like limerence, and it's no longer a reciprocal thing. So it's also very one-sided, and one person thinks that the other person is a twin flame, whereas the other person is just like, nah. Um and another thing that that could actually be a possible difference between limerence and twin flame connections is possibly also the obsession versus spiritual growth bit. um Twin flames, whatever you think about it, is actually, like I said, rooted in a spiritual belief, and at some point in time I felt that it carried some weight, at least. Not in our society nowadays, but like the concept actually had some meaning to it, like many 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 years ago. um Limerence, though, is very much based on obsession and addiction and fantasy. Okay. Yeah, and you don't have very healthy behaviors when you are actually limerent for someone. Okay. And before I move on, if you're struggling with any of these concepts like limerence, love, twin flames, whatever it is, my one-on-one coaching and therapy and tarot sessions are also readings are also available. So do DM me on Instagram. And I'll link some of my books down below as well, and some of these concepts on limerence and others as well, so you can actually purchase them. um but kind of like moving to the similarities between limerence and twin flames. Okay, I do feel that both actually have more similarities and differences. Okay, so the first thing is that there are very intense emotions experienced by someone who is in a twin flame, situation, and someone who is actually limerent for someone else. So there's a lot of longing, a lot of desire, and a lot of euphoria that is actually linked to both of these concepts. Okay, so you're constantly thinking about the person, you're obsessed with them, you want them in your life constantly, you cannot function without them, you consume a lot of content about them, you replay conversations about that you guys actually had, you replay interactions that you guys shared. Whenever you think about it, there's a dopamine hit that actually goes in your brain that you actually don't really know about. And dopamine hits are actually our, like, it's the reward center in our brain. And this is what makes you so euphoric and so happy and so pleasurable when you think of your twin flame or your limerent object. Okay. And this constant replaying of certain thoughts, certain interactions, and certain fantasies can actually lead to a certain kind of obsession, okay, where you actually project a lot of your fantasies onto reality. So you may not actually even have spoken to your limerent object. You may not have spoken to your twin flame, the person that you think is a twin flame, for many, many years. You may not even have spoken to them at all, but you somehow feel that there's this, like, there's this obsessive, like, desire to keep thinking about them and keep wanting to, talk to them and to have a certain sort of reciprocation, right? And the second one, um, the second similarity is that there can be a preoccupation with the other person. Okay, so in limerence, it can lead you to being very preoccupied with your limerent object. And for your twin flame, you can get very, very obsessed with this person that you think is your twin flame, and can really, really affect your life. Okay, I've seen people that have come to me that said that, oh, I am, this person is like my twin flame. They are someone that I met in my previous life, but they are not in my life now. I cannot let go of them. I keep thinking about them every single day. That's not twin flame. Okay, that's you being obsessed with someone, and actually that is limerence. And I will kind of talk about healthy and not so healthy behaviors when it comes to love in the next slide. But back to the similarities, there's preoccupation that I talked about, intense emotions that I talked about, and the third similarity is that both causes, okay, listen to this, both causes intense emotional pain. Okay, intense emotional pain, your feelings are already intense, but the outcome or the process of you and this person is causing you a lot of pain. Okay, so it could be the nature of it because it's one-sided, or it could be because you're facing a lot of like challenges in getting this person to be in your life, and this is why there's a lot of pain. um Limerence and twin flames in our modern day concept is actually very much the same. And why I actually even did this video is because there are a lot of people that are using this concept of a twin flame or a soulmate, and they are saying that they have this immensely special connection with this person, and they cannot let go of the person because of this special connection. And whenever I kind of dig more and I ask them what is this special connection about, it's always like, oh, I looked at them and I had this feeling come up in me. I had this sense of familiarity. I knew that they were the one. I saw their smile and I knew that they were the one for me. I, had this conversation with them and I just knew, because we had this amazing connection. And I'm not trying to crap on or throw, like a wet blanket over the connections that you feel with people, because these are things that are very personal to you and subjective as well. um the thing that I want to point out though about love and connection and limerence and twin flames and all the stuff like that is that when it comes to love, okay, um there is a sense that there's no, I wouldn't say there's no emotional pain, okay, involved in love, but your partner, at least when you are in a healthy relationship, healthy loving relationship where there's romantic love, your partner is actually right there beside you. They are physically and emotionally present and available for you to be in a relationship in. For limerence and in twin flames, the person is usually not there. And because the person is not there or it's not available for you because they are in another country, they are married to someone else, they are attached, they don't share the same sexual orientation as you, um, whatever it is, this barrier is seen as something that a limerent person or person that is using the twin flame concept to explain their limerence. The barriers to their love is something that actually makes them very, very determined to overcome. And this is why you are obsessed. Because when you see like, oh no, this person is in another country, this person is like not available, it's okay, I will wait for them because they are the one for me. And this is actually really, really dangerous because it keeps you locked into this limerent or obsessive love cycle with this person that you will probably never have. This is why when people are limerent, there are many people that I've seen that have been limerent for decades, and they tell me that they are waiting for their soulmate, but their soulmate is actually like married and living in another country. Okay, so sometimes when it comes to limerence or trying to use twin flame concepts to explain limerence, we have to be really grounded, and we have to really face the facts, which a lot of limerent people may not want to, because you have to realize at some point in time that this guy or girl or lady or gentleman is not actually with you. They will never be with you. And some of you have probably even been rejected by your limerent object or your twin flame object or whatever you call this person. You probably have already been rejected, but you're still holding on to the hope that this person will come back to you. And um, continuing on to what I was actually mentioning on the previous slide, these hope and this kind of special connection that you think we share with this twin flame is what is keeping you so obsessed with this person and so unable to move on with your life. Because you keep hoping that this person will one day be available to you, that they will fall in love with you, they will suddenly magically see that you are this amazing person that has been there the whole time, and they will start liking you. Is this hope, and actually I would say false hope, that keeps it going and makes it very dangerous, because you are like, let me just wait for this person. And I want to talk about the connection part as well. A lot of people in relationships, whenever they are dating, okay, whenever they're trying to get to know someone, or whenever they're trying to explain to themselves why they need to be with this person, they always talk about connection. Oh, I feel this amazing thing with someone. I feel this amazing, like, we had an amazing conversation. I've said it in a couple of my videos, which I will link up, I think up above as well in some of the cards. Um, Connection is very subjective. I can feel a connection with you in a conversation. I can look at you and feel like we could have a conversation. I mean, we could have a connection, but you may not be feeling that way at all. And been on the other side as well. So people that I've actually interacted with very briefly have come and told me things like, oh, I feel this very, very strong connection with you. There was like chemistry in our conversation. There was this, there was that. And the whole time I'm just like, that was just a conversation to me. Because in my job, in my career, in my daily life, I do interact with a lot of people. I have a lot of conversations with people. A lot of these conversations are just that, conversations. They are not like, I'm not looking for chemistry or connection or whatever it is. I'm just having a conversation. So when you see yourself actually trying to find, reasons, very, very scant evidence to actually give or back up for your connection, there's actually a sign that you're not being very grounded. And connection, again, I want to talk about it, is, when you actually have a reciprocal loving relationship with someone, connection is good. Okay, not saying that it isn't. Connection is good, but there are other things that are actually way more important than connection and chemistry. And that is the person being available for you, the person being able to reciprocate your feelings, and what is even more important is your commitment, and their compatibility with you. That is the difference between finding true love, being happy in your secure in a relationship, versus limerence, versus trying to use the twin flame concept to conceal your limerence. True love is not about being obsessed with someone. It's not about being in emotional pain all the time when you're thinking of someone. It's not about being rejected by someone and then still continuing on being obsessed with them. It's not about longing for someone that you can't have. It's not about longing for someone who is in another country, married to someone else. Um, it is not just about, that special, amazing, chemistry that you apparently had 10 years ago in a conversation. Love is way more than that. And having a connection doesn't mean that this person is the one for you. Okay, there are lots of people in this world that we have connections with. There are, if you are into, the spirituality realms, you would know that there are lots of people in this lifetime that you probably would have met in your past lives. Okay, are we supposed to end up with all of them? Are we supposed to date, marry, live with all of them? No, we are not. Okay. So this concept of the twin flame that I'm seeing a lot on social media and generally in society, and generally, when people actually think that they have this amazing connection with someone, um, I see a lot of people using the twin flame concept to actually, talk about their limerence. And they say that, oh, what I'm experiencing is not limerence, it's actually this twin flame thing. We have a lot of karma in our past lives. Um, I would just want to tell you very gently that if um, this person is not committed to you in the way that you want to, you don't have anything past a connection, you have never talked about compatibility, you don't even know whether they're compatible with you on a romantic level, that is actually not love. Okay, that is actually limerence, and that is actually being obsessed with someone that you can't have, and that is also being love addicted, and is also being in a one-sided fantasy relationship with someone that just doesn't want to be with you. Okay, and the path to being happy and finding true love is not about being or holding on to things or people that you cannot have. It's about moving on and finding the people that can give you what you want and that you can give them what they want as well. It's reciprocal. um so once you actually kind of get grounded and real about what you're actually experiencing, and accept and acknowledge that the feelings that you actually have are just strong, intensive emotional desires and obsessions for someone who is not with you and does not want to be with you, possibly, you'll come to realize that that is not the love that you want. um if you have a pattern of constantly chasing after people, calling them, your twin flame, and chasing after people that actually don't really want to be with you, it is time to actually look again into some of your patterns in romantic relationships and in relationships in general. Look into patterns, look into your thought processes and your beliefs, and it's time to look at whether you are actually being very emotionally unavailable yourself, because emotionally unavailable people attract other emotionally unavailable people, and they are also attracted to emotionally unavailable romantic situations where you cannot have the other person, and you create instances of longing or obsession, and then call it maybe a twin flame thing to keep your false hopes going, so that you don't have to engage in the reality of meeting and falling in love with someone, because that is so scary and so overwhelming. Okay, if you needed to hear that again, you can pause the video and replay that part. So we need to be very mindful that the love that we want and the love that we are going after is actually something that is making us feel good, okay, in general, okay, and it's something that is giving us what we want. Because going after someone who does not want to be with you, and obsessing over someone and calling them your twin flame, whereas they don't even know you exist, or you maybe had one conversation 10 years ago, is not the healthy and secure and happy path to true love. Okay, I want you to be able to discern and to differentiate between those two concepts of limerence slash twin flame slash true love. Because ultimately, a lot of people who are looking for their twin flame, okay, and are looking and are actually limerent, are people that actually really want to experience love. And you can only experience love if you are grounded in reality. You actually know what you're looking for, and there is definitely compatibility and commitment beyond just a connection. And you will definitely look for people that can give you what you want, and not people that are miles away that can't be with you. Okay, always remember that when someone does not want to be with you, or refuses to be with you, has rejected you, or doesn't even know you exist, are people that they are not compatible with, or they're people that are not right for you. Just let them go. Okay, I know it's difficult, but these are things that you can think about. Start thinking about your patterns, thinking about what is love to you and what you really actually want from it. Stop with this twin flame thing, especially if it's bringing you a lot of pain. Just stop doing that to yourself. Okay, um, stop bringing yourself even more pain. And if you are limerent, there are ways of getting out of it. um, I will just end this video by saying that my book is linked below, and if you are struggling, there are one-on-one sessions. But do remember to love yourself. Okay, you are precious, you are unique, you deserve to be loved, and you deserve to be loved by someone who wants to be with you. Okay, you don't deserve that kind of situation where you're obsessing over people that actually don't want you and can't be with you. Okay, so if your patterns have been like that throughout your life, it's time to change it around. You can do it yourself, but if you need help, I can help. I'm wishing you all the best, and I'll be back again with another limerence or relationship video. Okay, have a good day, have a good week ahead, and I will see you soon. Bye.